Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Moving to Texas team down here in Houston, Texas. I'm really excited to dig in with this week's guest. She is well known in the real estate industry, not only for all that she does as far as selling homes, but also for charitable work and philanthropy. Her team's the Give Back team. Pretty self-explanatory, but they give back to the community a ton and with every transaction. Outside of all of that, she's also well known for video marketing, marketing properties, luxury real estate, military moves, all kinds of things. And she wins a ton of awards for selling a ton of real estate. Please join me in welcoming Ginger Walker.
Hey, Katie. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for joining today. I'm really excited. What is new? How's life?
Well, busy, 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 and all the right reasons. So, lots of plates and balls up in the air, lots of great things that, we had in the works from the end of last year that are kicking off 2022 with a bang. And just excited because this is the last day of January. We're headed into February and we're ready for spring market. I mean, spring market actually is already here for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's something that we've been talking about a lot, just across the industry of like, we never really had that much of a slowdown.
Mm-mm.
I was recently at the Tom Ferry Elite Retreat, and some of like the stats they were giving as far as like homes sold between like December 15 and January 15 and stuff like that in different markets that would normally be slow. Which, Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC, like, it's cold and snowy there. So you'd think it'd slow down a little bit, but everyone's saying it's full steam ahead. So
Mhm.
um for someone that doesn't know you, tell me a little bit about, yourself and kind of, your business and, how you got in real estate.
Sure. So I'm actually a Jersey girl at heart. That's where I grew up. So I like pink and sparkles. That's kind of my vibe.
No wonder you and Glenda
So
get along, the
yeah,
sparkles.
exactly, exactly. I actually have something, a poster on my door that says sparkle is my favorite, or glitter is my favorite color from my son from third grade. So it goes with me to every office
Nice.
every door I have. But no, so I'm from New Jersey originally. I worked in Manhattan for a long time for a big pharmaceutical company where I basically wore every hat possible. I learned selling really there. I worked in the industry where I dealt with pediatricians all the way up to heart surgeons and scrubbed into open heart surgeries and ran a region eventually. That was the last position I had. And I ran an entire region. And had several hundred reps with me. So sales was always something that I just really loved doing. And my husband is government, and he was assigned into New York City, which is where we met. But he ended up getting an assignment to come to Quantico for the hostage rescue team. So he's an FBI agent, and we moved down to Stafford, right outside of Quantico, around 2000, right around 2001. And I got to be honest, real estate was totally an accident for me, which I know sounds terrible, but it's the truth. I had friends that were doing it. I loved sales. Even though the reason why I stopped doing the job I had was because I was pregnant with our first, and my job was such that my one office was in New York City, my other office was in Paris, and I had a lot of travel. And so we made the decision that I was going to be that mom that stayed at home because we could, and that was our decision. But I couldn't help myself. I still wanted to do something because
Yeah.
I'm a people person,
I mean, yeah, anyone that's ever met you would say that.
So I ended up in real estate. My friends were doing it, and I was like, I love homes. I love interior design. I like people, and I loved where I lived.
Yeah.
So, it kind of was like that perfect, it was just a perfect blend. And I took the course. I started in real estate in 2008.
Great
Um,
time.
yeah. I mean, I figured, if I could learn then in that market and I could sell and be successful, then I could sell at any market. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where really what I did. I jumped in with 2 feet. My husband called it the unjob for the first year because I was learning.
Yeah.
And, I probably learned all the things that you shouldn't do as a new agent, which is why I think you and I ended up meeting through Tom Ferry ecosystem, because I realized the value at that point of having good mentors
Yeah.
and having good leaders that you could learn from. And I probably could have used that from the very beginning, but long story short, 2008 I got licensed, and then lived overseas for 2 years in Italy with my family. Stayed in real estate, did the back end of the business and had a partner, moved back and switched brokerages. And 2 years after I switched the brokerages, I started a team called Give Back Team. So this is our 4th year. And we are just, we're gangbusters. We love what we do. We give, work, play. And that's, just giving back to the community and to our clients is really super important to me. So the rest is history. And here I am.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what advice would you give to someone that's just getting into real estate? Or, I think right now a lot of people are getting into real estate and it's a great market. There are a ton of homes selling, more homes than ever before, right?
Mhm.
What advice would you give to someone, if they're getting in to real estate today?
So if it's someone new, based on my experience, I would say find a good mentor. Find someone that you appreciate their business and you look up to and learn from them. That would be the first thing. I would say find a mentor because there's no reason to start from zero when
Mhm.
people are there that will help you and guide you. And I think that that's imperative. So I would start there. The second thing I would say is if you've never been in sales before, be prepared to be uncomfortable because you really do need to be doing things like this, talking to people on a podcast, being on video. Your cell phone, I don't even know where like this is my best friend. Like
Yeah.
if I lose this, like I'm in trouble because I'm always, trying to shoot something, even just a video text. So be uncomfortable with being on camera, doing video, talking about the community that you know the best. And that's actually a really good jumping point. If you feel like I don't know where to start with video because people are going to get to meet you that way. And that's a great way for you to introduce yourself to the public. So those are probably the first two things I would say to start with.
Yeah. No, I mean, mentorship's so key. And video, as we know, is so key
Mhm.
to marketing yourself. And, the more comfortable you can be, especially on using your phone, then if you go do hire a videographer and stuff like that, then it's worth the
Mhm.
time. I think
Mhm.
I get a lot of messages from people that are like, oh, I'm hiring a videographer, and I go to their Instagram and they've never posted a video. I'm like, try doing lives, try doing, video on your own and get
Yeah.
comfortable talking to camera. Cause if you hire a videographer and are paying thousands of dollars and you're scared to talk to a camera, it's not worth the time or money.
I agree 100%. I mean, and these things like phones, these cameras are,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
they're
yeah.
amazing. You just need a tripod and, I mean, honestly, you don't even need lights. Just put the camera in a window
Yep.
and face it to you and start
Yeah.
talking. That light is perfect. So
Oh,
just point and shoot, just do it. Just start recording.
well, and so I know, I guess not so recently, but I know recently you've been doing the branding and marketing and mentorship program with Ryan Zerhan. So how's that been going?
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. So he's one of my mentors. I actually have three.
Yeah.
So Tom Ferry's is one, Ryan Serhant is another one, and then Sharon Srivatsa is my third mentor. Um,
That's
you
like
didn't
that's
know
like
that?
the trifecta of real estate
Yeah,
and business mentorship. Like, holy
yeah,
moly, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's so and that's why I say that mentorship, and you don't have to go and hire Tom Ferry or Ryan Serhant at the beginning, because I've worked my way up that way, but find a local mentor and start there. But with Ryan and the branding, it's just, I mean, he's next level. He's
Yeah.
got energy like you would not believe. And I did have the opportunity to bring a videographer from the Quantico train station all the way to New York City with me. We shot vlogs, vlog style. So I actually have an interview that I'm going to be posting soon that I did with Ryan and a couple of other realtors where we toured different properties at different price points. So,
Yeah.
but he's just so dynamic. And I mean, you don't have to hire him, but what I would recommend that you do is start watching some of his video content if
Yeah.
that's something that you gravitate to. And you can do a lot with just watching and absorbing someone else's content to then adapt it to your own. So, but he's amazing. I mean, he's going to take my business to the next level too from the video perspective and just, marketing and positioning. And for me, it's a little difficult because I'm Ginger Walker, but I run the Give Back team. So
Yeah.
it's not the team's not my name. So it's how do I do both and then
Mhm.
put them together so people know I am part of the Give Back team. The Give Back team is part of me, but I'm also the Ginger Walker brand as well. So
Personal and
mhm,
team brand.
yep. Yep. So that's what we're working on right now.
So, you said you started the team 4 years ago? That's
This
how
is our
long?
fourth year. I
Fourth
started
year?
in 2000, yeah, 2018 we started, and took took the ground, by storm. We ended up number one in the brokerage year one, and we're ranked within the state for small teams for our for Coldwell Banker we're with CB in the state for small teams. So we're just we're running like that's what we do. So
That's
we want to grow slowly because I love that family sort of environment. But yeah, so if anyone's in Northern Virginia and looking to join a team, call me.
no, that's awesome. Congratulations. No
Thank you.
surprise that you rose up the ranks quickly, but congratulations.
Thank
What
you.
advice? Because I mean, like, I would love to, we all would love to say that it's all, rainbows and butterflies and everything went so smoothly and all the things, right? But like, it's not always that way.
No, no.
Um, what mistakes did you make that you're like, if I could go back, I would do this differently? Or like, what advice would you give to someone that's like, okay, I've got enough business and, I think I want to start a team. What advice would you give?
So for the starting the team part, I did everything wrong. I will fully admit and
Yeah.
confess to everyone that's listening. I did not do anything right when I got into real estate. I did everything backwards. So the one thing that I would have done and I would recommend when looking to start a team, A, is have a coach on your side, because if you've never done that before, it is very different. You have to have processes in place. You have to have kind of a book. There's no manual, right? And
Yeah.
every business, your real estate business is different than mine, and you run a very successful team. Your group is much bigger than mine, but you have to make sure that it's adapted to you. But the first hire I would recommend is not another realtor to take the business that you have as overflow. It would actually be an assistant to getting your processes in order. That would be the first thing that I would recommend, because I actually didn't do it that
I
way.
was gonna say,
I
so
brought
what was your first hire?
it was a buyer's agent. I mean, it was a buyer's agent, and I didn't have, the TC was, and we still use the brokerage TC, but I might
Yeah.
be bringing that in house. But so there were some things that we were leveraging, but you might still be able to maintain being a solo agent and bringing on support. I would say, make sure that you're looking at the different options before you start a team, and what's the reason why you're actually starting it? Is it because you just have more leads that you can't handle, or is it because you are doing too many other things that aren't money producing,
Yeah.
income producing time? Is it leveraging assistance versus a buyer's agent?
Um, that would be the same advice I would give because my first hire as well was also a buyer's agent. And I actually had a coach at the time. And my coach was like, you need to get your systems in place. You need to get your, SOPs in place. You need to have like action plans. You need to have all of these things. I'm like, but she's good and I like her. And
Yeah.
like, so we just like kind of powered through. I was still running all the TC stuff. Like, yeah, no, it completely wrong. I thought that I could do it better than, the thousands of people before me that did the same thing incorrectly. But
Well, and sometimes it's hard to let go too. I think our personalities are such that we want to be involved in a lot of things. So for me to give up doing certain things is also a little bit difficult, because oh, no one's going to do it like me. Well, no, they are. If you're working with them and you're training them on how you would handle something, and I'm not always right, and someone can do something better than I can, and leverage is it's a big thing, and
yeah.
I've learned from that mistake too. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say definitely bring on help, assistance, and people who can do the things that aren't income producing, and then you'll be able to do more, which is really the key.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Leveraging time is so important.
Mhm.
So where your business stands today, what would you say are kind of like your team's lead pillars?
Wow, we have a lot. So I did start with Zillow, the giant Z, and I do have a presence still on there. I
Yep.
have reduced, but that is one pillar that we still do have. I don't lean on that though. It's more
Yeah.
for the presence as opposed to the performance of the leads. So for me, I've been tripling down, actually probably 10xing, I should say, on all the video content.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm doing more reels, I'm doing more stories, I'm trying to do the TikTok thing. I'm trying. but I'm getting there. But it's putting more content for me on YouTube. I've been
Yeah.
getting leads on Instagram, and I've been getting leads on YouTube. So for us, those are actually two pillars that are coming that are coming up for us. That's why
Mhm.
we're doubling down a lot more time, effort, and energy and money, because we do have a videographer that does help us with
Yeah.
that. And then I'm also on the radio. I have a show called Ask a Realtor on one of the local radio stations out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. So, in fact, I'm on Friday. So I'm on, during the prime time drive time on a Friday. So I get some really great questions there, and that's a lead source for us as well.
Yeah.
We get definitely a lot of calls as a result of being on the radio. They hear my voice.
Yeah.
So that's another one. And then with our CRM, we do have a lead gen with the CRM as well. And I would say that the other thing that we do is the Google My Business. We are getting leads coming through
Yeah.
Google. So I'm trying to think. I mean, we do have so many like different things that we work, but I would say that probably the two biggest things that we're pushing on would be anything that's leaning into the video space, wherever we can
Yeah.
get the video and optimizing. I have someone, I don't do it myself, but optimizing the YouTube channel, because
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
not my lane, but I have someone that does that for me. And I think that that's truly taken the dynamic of the channel into a different direction.
Yeah, I think that's so key is what you just said, right? It's like, hey, that's not my lane, but I know it's important. So we've got someone
Mhm,
that works on that, right? And I think
mhm.
too often people are like, oh, like we've got to be on all things, we have to be everywhere, we have to do all of the things. Like, and I know just from, the time that we've known each other, like you haven't always done all of these things, right? It's layering them on, adding on more things, and then recognizing like, hey, I need help with this.
Yeah.
One thing that you touched on that I talk about a lot, as far as a unique lead pillar for y'all is the radio show. So like I know you do
Mhm.
one, Byron Lazine does one, Cleve Gaddis does one. So there's lots of people throughout the country that do them to where, it's the audio, but then I think I've seen yours too, where you have it
Mhm.
recorded so then you can
Yep.
repurpose that video content as well. Which I think
Yep.
is so key is like here are these bite-sized pieces of this, longer show where you're showing that you're, an expert in your field and in the local market and all that. So I think that that's um, an underutilized thing, but you also
Mhm.
have to like know your market and know about real estate and be like confident in, what you're talking about. So,
It's a lot of fun. And actually, when I started with that, and I've been doing the show, I want to say probably a year and a half now. Um, and that's opened up other shows on
yeah.
radio, other radio stations. So, I think once people start seeing you or hearing you, right? Because they're not really seeing me. But I record everything. So if you're doing something like that, record it. Even if you have to take your phone and, like a tripod and just put
Yeah.
it in front of you. But I do bring a videographer in for that. We do record it. We have two cameras, one on the radio show host, and then one on me.
Yeah.
And we take bite size, we make it into bite-sized content, and that plays really well because it's just that Q&A format. But I think the more that you do stuff like that, the more you get invited to do more.
Yeah.
And the more we're talking on the radio, people get to hear my voice. They hear the team name. They know Ginger Walker, Give Back
Yeah.
Team,
Yeah.
and they feel confident in calling us. So I actually, radio is not dead. It's actually, I know a lot of people put XM radio on, but there's a lot of people that listen to radio. So if you have an opportunity to leverage that as a pillar, I would try it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to call the radio station and say, hey, have you ever thought of having an expert come in and answer questions for you? And go to the radio station and offer your services to them and see what they say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's great. And it's definitely something that people are like, what's a unique thing that you can do? I'm like,
Yeah.
here's one. Look up Ginger Walker. Look at the, video she's posting that's of her at a radio station, talking into the mic like this is. Um, so obviously we've talked about a lot already about video and, hiring a videographer and taking audio content and making it into video content as well. Like what, and, I hate this question, but like
Oh boy.
what impact would you say videos had on your business? Like what, because people ask all the time, but Ginger, what's the ROI on your video? Like, you know, it's exponential, but like how would you explain it to someone as far as like if they're nervous to get into it or, scared to be in front of the camera,
Mhm.
what's the impact it's had on your business?
So, when I go back and track like where, because we track everything. So where the leads are coming from and how many conversions we're getting as a result of, conversations, conversions leading to closings. Those are the three C's that we kind of look at.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at the pillars and I look at YouTube, and YouTube we've really started going deeper on. When I look at YouTube, when I look at Instagram, and I actually did get a TikTok lead, which is crazy. And I was so excited, like literally running with my hair on fire around the office, like, I got a TikTok lead. And
Yeah.
I told my kids, my teenagers, were like, you shouldn't be on there. I'm like, no, I'm going to be on there. But when I look at that over the last 3 years, and I'll just take the last 3 years of the team dynamic, we went from like around 60 transactions to around, 80 transactions to last year we did 100 and I think 11 transactions. This year we're doing 125 transactions, but not just the transactions, but the dollar volume, like what we've elevated our price point to because of the
Hmm.
demographic we're hitting with the videos that we're producing. A lot of that climb in incremental climb is as a result of my YouTube videos,
Yeah.
my Instagram presence, doubling down with the videographer and putting the content everywhere and anywhere that I can. So we can actually trace all of these back. And like I said, I'm on Zillow, but that has nothing. I've actually taken Zillow and gone like this with it. And
Yeah.
I've taken the video content and gone this with it. And we've been increasing exponentially. So I mean, without a doubt, the video has made a huge impact on our business. And that's why, I mean, I'm looking to bring in-house a
Yeah.
videographer. I mean, I would put cameras in my office and do, literally do stuff like that and put one in the car.
Yeah.
Um, just so people could see the behind the scenes stuff too, because sometimes that's where we get the leads from. It's like, wow, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that's what you did. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So for us and my business, just even in the last 3 years of the team, we can attribute probably 20 extra deals every year because we've doubled down on video
Yeah.
from year one of the team to now we're year four, but over the last 3 years. So it's huge and the potential is huge. And here's the key thing. What does it really cost you? Now, if you're hiring the videographer, yes, you're paying for that. But if you're using
Yeah.
this, right? I mean, the cost versus the benefit, and you have to be consistent. That's the key thing. You can't do one video and say it didn't work. It's consistency over time. That's the key.
No, that's huge. Um, Sorry, I was writing a note and then yeah. No, that's huge. Consistency is like the biggest thing. And it's what I
Mhm,
harp on because it's like whether it's video, whether it's open houses, cold calling, door knocking,
mhm.
whatever it is, if you don't do it consistently, it's just not going to work. So,
Well, and
um,
all that could be video too. An open house could be. We did an open house. So when COVID first started, we were like, okay, we were launching a listing. We couldn't do an open house, in the traditional way. So what we ended up doing was we did Marco Polo. The team
okay.
did. We all took our phones. We went live on Facebook. We went live on Instagram,
Yeah.
and we did a Marco Polo um, open house through the house. I mean, it was amazing. Like the feedback. So
Yeah.
you have to think. This is the way I look at video. This is the way I look at everything, actually. People say, think outside the box. In my world, in Ginger's world, there is no box. So look there, because that's where you're going to find the magic. There's no
Yeah.
box,
Yeah.
right? So door knocking, I mean, we know someone who does door knocking. That's his thing. Opportunity knocks is his slogan. And he videos that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not only are you getting it maybe from a door knock, but you're getting it from that. But the way I look at this is video is door knocking. That is
Yeah.
door knocking via video.
Conversation at scale.
Mhm.
All right, so you're in Northern Virginia, and I know we touched on this a little bit. Obviously there's a lot of military, Quantico, defense, DC, all of the things. So
Mhm.
I imagine y'all see a lot of, people that are moving in due to the military and defense contractors and stuff like that.
Mhm. So we've always been a 24/7 team, sort of, because we have a lot of people who are moving from overseas too,
Yeah.
or moving to overseas. So,
Yeah.
even before COVID happened, the whole sight unseen buying and the video stuff, we were already doing all of that because we had to.
Hmm.
We have many people who are making a move, and it could be, they've never been in this area before, and we have to be their eyes, their ears, and explain where they're moving to.
Yeah.
So we do. I mean, literally, I joke, and I know I said this to you at the beginning, if the computer starts shaking, it's because the Marines are blowing stuff up. That's how close I am to Quantico.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and we're just down 95 to DC. So
Yeah.
in the Quantico area in Fredericksburg, even that's commuting area to DC. So we have, at Quantico, we have the Marines, we have the DEA, and we have the FBI all sitting right in our backyard here. And then, everyone that's up at DC, and we have, Fort Belvoir in between. So we have a little bit of everything here.
Yeah.
If you can think of it that's government related, we've probably helped them buy a house or sell a house. But we also have Amazon. Amazon came to
Yep.
Northern
Yep.
Virginia. So we have a really unique clientele, but a lot of it in where I'm sitting right now is very heavily military or government for sure.
Well, and I know, Clubhouse is still kind of happening and all that, but when Clubhouse was really, popular back in like late 2020, early 2021.
Hmm.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
I'm trying to remember my years,
I
right?
know.
Late 2020, early 2021. Like I know that you ran a couple rooms with some other people across the country of like military moves and,
Hmm.
talking about kind of best practices around that and stuff like that. Do you have any advice for, real estate agents that are dealing with like a military move or even a long distance move? Because I know both are tough, right? Do you have any advice for a situation like that
So, as the realtor or as the person moving?
as a real estate agent? Yeah.
So I would say, if you've never, so I'm an FBI spouse. I'm not a military spouse. Most of the people on my team are, however,
Okay.
but we've done a government move. We moved to Italy and back. And so
Yeah.
I would say that the key thing is if you're helping them with wherever they're moving from, you have to remain flexible and calm. That's the key thing because their orders could change last minute. I mean, we've put people to the point of writing the offer and the orders changed.
Yeah.
So, flexibility is key. I'm fortunate because the area that I'm sitting in, people, buyers and sellers, that we're so used to it here. But if you're the agent that's trying to help someone that's making that move, no matter where they're moving from, there's Facebook groups that they're probably already connected with. So they probably already have some level of rapport in your area,
Yeah.
but you still have to be the guide. You have to be the one that can give them hey, I would suggest that you try this restaurant or this area, feeds to these schools right now. Cause for us, we always have redistricting
Yeah.
possibilities and things like that. Cause we're growing so much, but, it's really being flexible. And then for your overseas clients, like you have to remember that there may be 6 hours, 8 hours, 12
Yeah.
hours. So you also have to have your whole team in line to be able to support them, meaning your lender. You need someone that's going to be able to talk to them when they're awake.
Yeah.
And then, if they're not here, you have to prepare for the closing timeline because I've bought a house. I've bought many houses for clients. And I say I bought it because I've actually signed for them, where, I'm the attorney in fact, if they're a purchaser and they've owned the house for 2 months sometimes, and I'm the one handing them the keys.
Yeah.
So, be flexible, make sure that you just articulate everything that you can about the house that they're looking at and understand that their orders might move and really be educated on what's happening with the VA loan because most of the time that's what they're probably using.
Yeah.
And in this crazy market, you really need to know how to position that loan
Yeah.
for whatever contract you're submitting.
Well, and I think that like along the same lines too is like the lender being educated on VA loans, because
Mhm.
like I think, in previous years it was more difficult for appraisals and to get things approved and it took longer and all that. But like now other than sometimes the appraisal, but that's all appraisals, like VA loans are a great option, and if the lender can't sell
Yeah.
that to the listing agent, if you're working with a buyer, it's very frustrating. So yeah, I mean the communication, you're basically describing a normal real estate process
Yeah.
and how we should act it. But all of that is so key. And I think a lot of times people don't think about, the time differences and
Mhm.
the lender and title company and attorneys and all that all being, on that same path and in that same mindset. So that's
Yeah.
great advice.
I think the key is just the word I always use is flexibility. And
Yeah.
and I know I mentioned to you, but I am writing a book on military moves, and coming from not having the experience, but living like literally being dropped in Quantico, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest bulk of our business is helping
Yeah.
our military moves. And so really understanding the ins and outs, and there's all kinds of acronyms, and people are going to throw letters at you and you're going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm like writing down and Googling whenever I
Yeah.
have a client that's I'm like, you said sorry, the phone broke up. What was it? Okay, let me write that down.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's the thing, like educating yourself as much as possible. And then,
Yeah.
here's another thing too. It's we give back, and my team name is Give Back. And so
Yeah.
um giving back to that community, and the more involved you are with the community, the more the community is going to be involved with you. So if that's a business that you're looking to break into, or the clientele that you want to start working with, then volunteer, offer your time. I mean, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be monetary, but I'll give you an example. There's a back gate that we live off of at Quantico. And so that's how we get to where we go sometimes on base. And so the Marines that are there, they're young, they're away from their homes. And if we're going through on a holiday, for example, and walking the dogs and taking the family, it's called Yellow Brick Road, but there's a thing in Quantico, there's lots of trails and stuff. Bring them something,
Yeah.
bring them a little, not with your card. It doesn't have to be with your card or anything, but bring them something. And the more people start seeing you in that community, the more they're going to talk to you, the more you're going to learn. And that's the key, is just learning, what are their needs. And uh, like I said, the alphabet is important. I didn't know half of what they were
Yeah.
saying to me, or the different positions. And I will
Yeah.
say, this is another thing I would suggest learning is, how much money do they have per month to spend? Because depending on what their position is, what their rank is, they get an allocation of money for housing.
Yeah.
So it's called BAH. So understand what that is for
Yeah.
even each position, so you even know what type of homes to start showing them, as far as, is this going to be more than their BAH? Is it going to be less?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, these are things that are important to them that I didn't know. I mean, I was moving from Jersey. I had no idea what this stuff was. So,
Yeah.
just really educating yourself on that would be really important too.
A few years back, I know I did the what is it, the MRP certification, the military
Mhm.
relocation professional
Relocation
cert.
professional. Uh-huh.
And that was helpful because a lot of these things that you're saying, like they go through all of that. And I think, I don't know where my book is, but in the book, it has like, all the different acronyms that you
Acronyms.
should know.
Mhm.
So it's whenever I have a client that's relocating, I always, pull that up and take a look at them just to make sure like, okay, let me, make sure that I've got these all straight, or at least in front of me, so that when they drop them, I have some idea of what they're talking about.
It's funny because two of the members of my team just sat and got their MRP last week.
Awesome.
So yeah, and we all have it. So
Yeah.
yeah, education is so important, no matter what you can do, and always be learning. I mean, that's just the key, always be learning, especially if it's something that you're not used to,
Yeah.
or a clientele that you don't serve very often. But that would be the biggest help and benefit for them. I think that you could be is understanding the language that they're speaking.
Yeah, for sure. If you could recommend a book or a few books for anyone listening to read, what would be some books that you think would be good, books to read at the start or even during your real estate career?
So I did start with Keller Williams. That was
Okay.
the company that I started with,
Yeah.
and I think I have the book here somewhere. It's their Gary Keller's book was the
The red
first book,
one,
I
real
think.
estate,
Mhm. Yeah,
whatever.
I don't even remember the name of it, but yeah, that one. That was because it offered systems and
Yeah.
processes. It did offer some framework of what you should be doing.
Millionaire Real
So
Estate Agent. The red one,
that's it.
right? Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
I don't have it on my
Um,
bookshelf, but I've got it somewhere.
I just finished Atomic Habits. That was a great book. Are you reading that one too?
I've read it
Did
a
you read
few
it?
times, but I follow James Clear on Instagram, and what I like about
Mhm.
that is he always drops little, portions of it, so it's always a good
Mhm.
reminder of the things I should be doing.
And I'm trying to think, there was one that we just did it, actually a Clubhouse thing. I'm going to find it because I can't remember the name. What was it called? Glenda and I did a whole book club on Clubhouse,
Yeah.
and it was all on marketing. And now, I can't, I'm completely blanking out at the moment. Um, oh my gosh, what was it?
Atomic
Normally,
Habits is a great one though, and Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I feel like every
mhm.
new real estate agent sees the word millionaire and reads that book, or they, were at KW and read it there.
Yeah. But I will say, so Ryan Serhant, just to kind of give him a little plug,
Yeah,
but he does have 2 books out right now, and, Sell It Like Serhant. That's actually a really fun book to read. There you go.
Big Money Energy. Also
Big
good.
Money. That's his second book. So those are two great books too. I am a Serhant fan, so
Yeah,
that's why I would probably recommend reading those two as well. But I would also read things that are not necessarily real estate related. And going back to like my 3 mentors, so Sharon is a business mentor. I mean,
yeah,
he's was in the real estate space too. So open your horizon to other things that are not necessarily just real estate related, but business related, I
yeah.
think also helps. And mindset is a huge thing. So, I would definitely recommend that you just don't just read real estate books, but read, I mean, there's YouTube books. I was trying to, that was something I was going to start reading, was something on YouTube. And I was like, nope, I'm just going to hire someone to do that stuff for me, because that's not really my lane. But I would probably suggest actually not just real estate related books as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. I read almost exclusively all business books, so it's real estate and
Mhm,
business.
mhm,
Atomic Habits, Big Money Energy, all high on my list.
mhm.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with a hard-hitting question.
Oh boy, I'm sitting back for this. I'm
All
just
right.
kidding.
Hold on to your seats.
Okay.
If it were your last meal on Earth, what would you be eating? It could be homemade, it could be at a restaurant, it could be overseas.
So I would say it would be my Nana, who is from Sicily, her Sicilian pizza. I would want that because she made everything from scratch,
Of course.
and she's no longer with us. And my mom's, who's also no longer with us, my mom's homemade from scratch apple pie. Those are the 2 things I would say. So I'm going Italian and American
But
cuisine.
that's a good, like, 1-2 punch, like, dinner
Yeah,
and dessert, like,
yep.
oh,
Dinner and dessert. And so, and it's not because of the food, because I love lobster, like anything seafood related, I would
yeah,
love. But if it was my last meal on earth, because I would be hopefully going to see both of them somewhere above,
yeah.
I would want the pizza from my Nana, and I would want the apple pie from my mom.
That's awesome.
That
I
would
feel
be
like
it.
that's 2 really good, like, memory meals,
Mhm,
like, good
mhm,
memories, family time. I love it.
mhm.
I love
Yep.
it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That
Ginger,
wasn't so hard.
it's funny because, like, some people, they are like, "Oh, I don't know," but it's also funny prefacing it as the hardest hitting question, because it isn't that hard. Like, everyone has to eat, so, you either have a favorite food or a good memory food, or,
Mhm.
your guilty pleasure. So, um, all right, that is all that I've got. If someone doesn't already follow you on social media, where's the best place for them to find you?
So Instagram is probably the best place to find me, but I'm on Instagram and TikTok as the real Ginger Walker, because someone tried to be Ginger Walker, so now I'm the real Ginger Walker. So
The
you can
real
find
one.
me, the real one. So you can find me on Instagram or TikTok as the real Ginger Walker, and YouTube. If you just put Ginger Walker Give Back Team, you'll find me there too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's always great catching up. I'm very excited for your book to drop later this year. Cannot wait to pick up a copy to have on my bookshelf after I read it. So, very much appreciated and wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you, Katie. Same to you.